Hey everyone,
Hello.
welcome to this week's live of That's It Real. We're doing blah, blah, exploitation and toxic people, mainly online. We are going to probably mention some people that are not online, but for the most part, we're going to talk about online people and their exploitation ways, their toxic ways, and a whole bunch of other things. So, Um, yeah, before we get too deep in it, I just want to kind of read the definition of exploitation, even though it's pretty explanatory. But the definition for exploitation is the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Also, the action of making use of and benefiting from resources. Now, there are a lot of types of exploitation, and I, well, I had a chart. Okay, hold on. And so we're going to just briefly discuss those because the ones we're going to be talking about aren't even on here. I mean, in a way, I guess they are, but for the most part, they're not. So these are, if you can see them, I can't really zoom in anymore because this is actually the web, the Google screen, but basically there were things on here that I never thought were exploitation. I just thought they were wrong, like human trafficking. I didn't realize that was a form of exploitation. I figured that was just like kidnapping, basically. But then there's child labor, and I guess that would make sense for exploitation, and kind of what a little bit of what we're talking about today as well. There's SA is apparently exploitation. Again, thought it was just a crime. So, but as you can see on here, they do not have online exploitation on here. So I don't know if they are putting that under one of these other categories. So maybe like child labor, or maybe,
Forced
uh,
begging.
yeah, or where is it? Child slavery, um, child grooming, even. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so we're mainly not necessarily just going to be talking about children. We are going to get into some adult situations as well. But I wanted to kind of share that screen just to show you that there are a lot of types of exploitation that um, that I would never even consider exploitation. So anyway, I'm gonna let Crystal kind of talk about one of the families. Just pick one for now, and then we'll come back to the other ones. Because I don't want to talk that much right now. So go ahead and tell them what family you're talking about first, and then we can go from there.
Do you have the like images or anything, or
Well, which family are you talking about first?
the one with the kids? I believe
They all have kids, except for the one.
the one with 3 kids.
Oh, okay. So what was their name?
The Simmons 3, because that family annoys me the most at the moment.
All right. You can go ahead and start talking about them, and I will get them pulled up here.
Okay, well, basically, um, I understand like tragedy is a tragedy, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the fact that this family did lose, 3 of their children in a very horrific way. That's not the issue here. The issue is that these children died, what, like 2 years ago, and this family is profiting off of the death of these children. Like every single day, a new video comes up, a new TikTok comes up. They're making a lot of money if you pull up their social blade.
Did you see this? They made merch.
Yeah.
All right, go on. Sorry.
And if you like, I usually have Social Blade on my screen. They make at least $80,000 a month. And that's just by Social Blade, which is usually off. It's usually lower than what people actually do make. So
Yeah,
it's
I don't think it takes into account what YouTube is taking from them.
no. And but it's just insane. And I've even seen people like white knighting for them, saying that they'll like, you know, go after people. People will harass people for them. People will like uh, you know, try to get people banned for them. People will, do other things for them and stuff like that. And they've been doing this for for a while. And I understand, they lost their kids in a very tragic way, but they're not letting these children, like move on and go. And it's horrifying to just see them like constantly post new, like every single day a new video goes up, a new video, a new video, just post, 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 post,
Yeah.
making money
It
off of
looks like they mainly focus on shorts right now.
it. And I understand, like if you want to do this for like to bring money in and stuff like that, focus on other families that have lost children in the same way, or family members in the same way. Like, don't just post about yourselves. Don't just seem like you're making money for yourselves. If it's about drunk driving and stuff like that, don't just exploit these same three children like this. It's like, if you're going around and you're doing talks on drunk driving, then do that. Post your talks on drunk driving. Post about that. Don't just post, the kids everywhere. You know, don't just keep posting, we lost our kids, we lost our kids, we lost our kids. Post about drunk driving. Teach people drunk driving. Teach people how, like, what to do. Teach people what not to do. Teach people the statistics. Teach people, like, what they need to be doing instead. Give people information that they can be using. Put videos like that up. you know Give them phone numbers, like what they can, like who they can call, like what they can do, like safe ride stuff. Put that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
Give that kind of information out. Don't do this.
Yeah.
If
I
this
think
is like your mission, then do that.
yeah. I think if they would have just made like one or two videos after it happened, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're just continuously, and I get it's a big thing, but
Mhm.
maybe use a different, or maybe don't monetize it. The fact that they monetize it is what makes it bad. Don't monetize it. I get, and they're probably going to tell you they donate it all back into charity. Maybe they do. I really highly doubt it, especially since they're now looks like making merch.
Yeah.
um,
And it doesn't seem to be working either.
and they're excited that they got the silver or platinum play button.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry that it just seems like you're
Celebrating.
you're celebrating that they are making you money, and it's really bad exploiting live children, but when you're exploiting the dead on top of it, that's a new kind of low in my opinion. So anyway, that's my say on it.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't mind, like, because I didn't even know about this until like just a month or two ago, because I mentioned it to Melissa like when I first heard about it, and so that was what, bless you, and you're eating too.
I told you guys I don't feel good, so
So like, when did we first start talking about this like early July, maybe.
Probably June. I think it was around June because that's where we decided to get the idea for doing this sort of, I don't want to call it a podcast, but this sort of live stream thing is from this sort of topic. But we wanted to like, not, I don't want to say save this topic. We didn't want to do this topic first because it's really a heavy topic to just start a yeah.
But right around that time is when I first found them. And this happened like back in like 2021, I believe. December of 2021, I think is when they passed.
Let me go to oldest. Well, the oldest one is a year ago, but it doesn't mean that's when it happened. So hold on, let me see if it says in the about section. Yeah, December 17th, 2021.
Yeah. So I mean this happened like almost 2 years ago. And I just heard about this like back in June because I was just hearing about this right around the time that I started talking to Melissa about it. So if you think about it, like I'm first finding out about it now. So that's when the algorithm got to me, so that's how frequently like it just picked up. That's how much they've been like posting about it and they've been picking up. So you think about it. That's how much they've been picking up.
If you read this, it says
they're a pending
nonprofit. So that means they're not even legally a nonprofit yet. So like if you're like, I don't know if they have this set up as a membership sort of thing. I don't know if they have a Patreon, but basically any money you donate to them, they can say they're putting it towards their nonprofit, but legally, since they're not a nonprofit, the money is just going directly to them. And unless you ask for a paper trail, you don't know where they're actually using the money for. And I get speaking to students at schools and stuff like that. I don't know how the person was that was drunk and driving, but
we don't really talk about that person that much. That person, I don't follow every video. I don't listen to their videos and stuff like that, but that they hardly ever, their videos are like never about the person that did it.
Right.
About their
and I see why they don't want to glorify him. Like they don't want to give him the spotlight, so to say. They don't want to put him out there. But at the same time, you kind of need to talk about both sides, because if he was a teenager, we can't say, a lot of the people that are killed by drunk drivers, and I think it's a horrible thing. Don't drink and drive, guys. It's nothing's worth risking your life, not only your life, but other people's lives. It's not worth it. So don't drink and drive, first of all. But second of all, we don't know both sides of the story. It could have literally just been a fluke accident. I mean, obviously it was an accident, but I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. Like, we are glorifying, at this point, they're glorifying the death of these children because they're profiting off of it. And they're excited about making merch, and they're excited about getting the play button, as you can see in this video here. She's excited about it.
Well, that was just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I get grieving. And again, like I said, if they did this and they weren't monetized and they strictly got all of their money off of people donating out of the kindness of their heart through Patreon or whatever else, that's fine, because they are apparently trying to set up a nonprofit. But you are monetizing the deaths of these children. So I just don't agree with that at all.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, one or two videos in the beginning talking about, hey, I lost my family to drunk driving. Please don't drink and drive, yada, yada, yada. But this whole family is literally, or this whole channel is literally called The Simmons 3. It focuses only around those 3 children that died. So,
Yeah, it's like the entire point is, you know, like they didn't even start until the children died.
and like 3 weeks ago, just a few clips of Lindsay, Chris, and Cam living life. Well, what if they never wanted this to be on the internet? Now you just showed it to the whole entire world to see. So, one of the people I watch is the Dad Challenge podcast, and his biggest thing is it's children cannot give informed consent. Well, obviously, people who have passed away cannot give informed consent either. So you're using videos of them that were probably never on the internet to begin with, and now they can't consent to you doing it. It's exploitation at the worst, because not only can they not ever give their consent, but now you just put everything out there for the whole world to see. I don't know.
Yeah, because like you're just finding like random videos in places and you're like just posting it up.
Yeah.
Because this stuff wasn't available where everyone was looking at it, and now people can see it. And now you guys have this big public platform that you're making money off of.
And like this, this should have been a private moment. They did a live, apparently, they did a live from the graveyard on Cameron's birthday. That should have just been a private moment for you and your family to have on by yourselves. Why'd you have to share that with the whole world?
I almost guarantee they got donations during that too.
Yeah, well,
Wouldn't have watched
this is
it.
things I'm talking about.
Like that's something you almost guarantee there's like super chats and stuff coming through.
Probably. But that's what I'm talking about. These moments right here, these could have been done in private. You didn't have to share it with the world. You're exploiting the situation. Oh, anyway.
Yeah,
So,
that's like that was one thing that I saw, and that's when I went to Melissa and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! You have got to be kidding me!" And then I saw like the empty chair like ceremony. I was like, "Let
no,
them go! Let
yeah,
them, let them go. Those kids, it's like if they have any, if they really can see you, like if there is like a heaven and an afterlife and stuff like that, and they can see them, what are they seeing? They're seeing
right,
their family can't let go.
yeah.
That's what their family can't let go. Their family can't move on.
And the,
And
and I want to say first, there is a difference between letting go, moving on, letting go, and just remembering them. Like for me, I I have accepted, my mom's passing. I've let it go, but I still remember it. But I'm not out there exploiting her death. Like these
yeah, it's
so
like when my mom died, the last like I wasn't even thinking about grabbing a camera and or like posting things up about it. The last thing like making money off of it was like I
yeah,
never even thought about it.
I would have never thought about it. That's just to me that's crazy.
Exactly.
And I mean, you would have had more of a platform because your mom passed away from cancer. I mean, heart
Mhm.
attack, heart disease is a big thing too, but cancer is something that affects a lot of people in this world, and that but there's a right way of going about it. Like, okay, I'm going to jump back to Dad Challenge podcast because one of the people he's talked about in the past was fathering autism. And I've never watched the fathering autism. I only know what I know based off of Dad Challenge podcast, but Basically, this dude exploits his autistic child, and he says it's for um, what's the right way to put it? That he's doing it for, I don't know the word. I had the word. Even the Dad Challenge podcast says it. He like
I think you got me right there too, but I was kidding.
it's like when you do it for knowledgeable things, like you're putting it out there
Purposes?
for what?
Educational purposes?
Yes, he does it for educational purposes. Here's the thing. There are so many spectrums of autism that I'm fine with parents that get on there and talk about their autistic children, but to show their everyday life, to show you changing that you have to change their diapers even when they're older, and you have to feed them when they're old. You're just literally exploiting this child at this point that has no voice because the autism that this particular child has is, like, I believe they're nonverbal. Again, I only know what I know from that challenge podcast. So a nonverbal child is basically, at the same grossness as a passed away child. There's no way for them to ever consent because they're nonverbal. Sure, they can like get angry and stuff at you, but they can't physically speak to you. So I don't know. I also want to point out, I meant to do this in the beginning. In my opinion, there's different types of exploitation, or different levels, I should say. And there's a difference between exploiting your children and your children just appearing in your videos. So I want to point that out too, because a lot of you are probably going to look through who I watch and be like, oh, well, they have their children in their videos, they're exploiting. So here's the thing. For me, exploitation is if you take your children out of the videos and you make no money. If your channel solely depends on your children being in your videos, that's exploitation, because you basically made that channel around your children. Whereas if, let me scroll through and throw someone under the bus. Okay, well, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Bargain Bethany, but she does mainly Dollar Tree crafts. She does other types of crafts as well, and she does like Dollar Tree shop with me's, etc., etc. Every now and then her children will be in her videos, but she made a lot of money before she even had children, and they're hardly ever in her videos. So she's someone that I wouldn't say is exploiting her children, but others would say, oh, well, they're in the videos, you're exploiting them. So it just really depends on what you believe is actually exploitation. I feel like if you don't need your kids to make the money, you're not exploiting them. Like the Wads, for example, her kids will appear in like just running through the house in her videos. If she was to sit there and edit every clip out that her kids have been in the background, her videos would be like, hey, they'd be so splotchy. So again, she doesn't like go and shove a camera in her kid's face and tell them to dance and, act like a monkey to make money. Like, for example, let's go back. Actually, let's look at one of the most recent people. The most recent person, I'm trying to find one that I've actually seen. Okay, so I don't watch this channel anymore. I used to. It's called Not Enough Nelsons. Their channel doesn't portray like bad content or anything, but if you took out all of her children, she wouldn't have a channel. Her channel was literally all about her kids, and they're all through the what am I trying to say? They're all through the content. Like there is no content without them. Here, I'm going to share this because if you guys don't watch the Dad Challenge podcast, if you are okay with people being a little mean to get the point across, then you'll like him. I don't always. Ooh, what did I do? Did it go up there? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with everything he says, but why isn't it doing that? Hold on. For some reason, it's not doing what I wanted it to.
Well, you shared it.
Yeah, but I think I have it up in 2 different spots. I do. Let me close out over here. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. All right. So he's very snarky. Like a lot of people call him a bully because his way of getting the exploitations or exploiters out is he makes fun of these people. Like he calls them out and he calls them what they are. So I don't always agree with everything he says. There were a couple people that he called exploiters and then um that I didn't agree with. And then one of the people he used to make fun of, he doesn't make fun of her anymore, was Love Meg. And her children were hardly ever in her videos. But his issue with her was when COVID happened and they had like this business loan that was going around. Well, a lot of YouTubers, especially family vloggers, were getting that loan. And then small businesses were not getting that loan because the money ran out before they could get approved. So, for example, I worked for a small business during COVID, and my boss got denied because there wasn't enough money left in the funds for her to get the whatever it was, like the government assistance thing for businesses. And then you find out that all these family vloggers that don't need the money because they literally were still making millions of dollars during COVID got that loan. So that was one of the things he called people out. And so you have to kind of take what he says with a grain of salt at that as well, kind of decide on your own. One of the families he really goes after is the Doherty Dozen. If you never heard of her, I'm going to just say she's scum.
Yeah, I heard of her.
So she doesn't always have her kids in her videos. So, she does mainly like huge shop with me's and she buys a bunch of junk and crap like that. Spends like thousands of dollars a week on groceries that there's no way they're eating all of that. But one of the things that really got her hate is that she will tell you all the medications her children is on, all their diagnoses. One of them, I guess, wets the bed, so they have to wear pull-ups to bed still. I think they're like 8 to 10 years old. I don't remember their exact age, but I guess they still wear pull-ups to bed, and she lets the world know that. So that's just disgusting behavior, in my opinion. We could talk about Colin Ballinger. I think everyone knows the situation going on there. I actually would rather you guys go look that one up yourself because I just say, like, I've never been a big, like, Miranda Sings or whatever fan, so I never watched her content back in the day, but apparently she is like a big groomer of children. So I don't know. I'm just trying to scroll through, see if there's anyone else to mention before we get into some of these I haven't watched yet. I usually go back and watch them if they're like people I don't really care about, or I can only do so much Doherty Dozen. So he was really into Doherty Dozen for a while. He still is. He still calls them out. But I think people told him they're getting tired of it. So he's starting to do more families. Della Vlogs, that was another one. I guess this girl, she has a business, Origami Owl. So she made a lot of her money off of Origami Owl. And then I guess there's news articles that her mom helped hide a pedophile, current news articles, something else to do with her mom. I don't remember what that it is. But anyway, this girl got scammed with an adoption scam, and she exploited it all over the internet. She like made videos making it look like she was going to get to adopt this child, and all along, we're watching and we're like, this isn't real. This is obviously a scam. And at the end, she admits that she was scammed. So,
And now they have a kid, though, don't they?
yeah, because I think what happened was someone like saw that she was scammed and reached out to the adoption agency she was using and said, hey, we have someone if they're interested. And so, yeah, now they do have a baby. And now the biggest thing is people are saying she shouldn't have a baby. She doesn't even know how to hold the baby because there's a video where the head is like clearly not supported properly, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So
I haven't watched any of the videos of her like having the baby. I've just seen her I just seen her in my timeline now that she has the baby, because the scam videos popped up and I watched those and I'm like, how did you not realize that was a scam?
Right. So just to kind of go back, I think that these type of videos, and I'm guilty of watching them. I still watch to an extent. Well, actually, they're not on TV anymore, so I don't watch them. But I feel like everyone says they started with like the Shaytards and Daily Bumps, all the OG family vloggers. But I think it goes further back than that, and it actually starts with like the Duggars and the Kardashians and all those other families that are or were on TV, because they're like, oh, well, if these families can be on TV, that I can film my family. And it kind of took off. Like I won't lie, I used to watch the Daily Bumps, not Daily Bumps. Well, I did watch them too, but the Shaytards. I actually found the Shaytards through Charles Trippy, who I've watched since his channel was basically started, and I still watch him to this day. But I found the Shaytards through him, and so I watched the Shaytards until they moved back to Utah. I watched them for like a few months after they moved back to Utah, and it started getting like very repetitive and boring, and I kind of just cut them off. Well, now that I look back on it, I don't think they could have survived if they took their kids out the channel. And supposedly there's rumors that one of its kids have spoke out about not wanting to do the YouTube, but being forced to do the YouTube. Again, this is just allegations. I don't have any proof of it. There's just rumored, because there was an article that came out that was anonymous, and everyone says that it has to be one of the Shaytard kids because they've mentioned that they're one of the founding families of YouTube, and Shaytards is the biggest founding family there was back in the day. So I'm sure there were others. I didn't watch very many family vloggers back then. I did start watching Daily Bumps when I stopped watching the Shaytards, but then they got kind of scripted, and it was obviously scripted, so I quit watching them. I watched Ellie and Jared for a while. I kind of watched them because mainly like they were suffering from infertility. That's how I found their channel, is that they were going through infertility issues, and that was something that I was going through at the time, and then they ended up getting pregnant and having babies, so on and so forth. So I eventually stopped watching them because it got boring. I think that's the problem with a lot of family channels is they end up getting very repetitive, very boring because there's only so much you can do realistically when you have children. So, um, do you want to talk about one of your other families now?
I don't know. Like,
I can come back to complaining about more people, but um, I also want to mention that the Dad Challenge podcast is not the only person that does these types of videos that talk about the exploitation of children. Sloan talks about the exploitation of children. He also talks about a lot of toxic people online. Same with Deep Dive, and then like I found Emmett Thorne and Alice Capelli. They don't they it's like sprinkled into their content, so you have to really search for it on them. But there are a lot of others that I probably never heard of that um, cover this sort of situation. So, okay, well, um, da, 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 da. Let me think. Um, how many of you guys? Well, there's no one in the thing, but how many of you guys have heard of Piper Raquel? She's a big one that the Dad Challenge talked about in the past, but I never heard of her again until he started talking about her. But apparently, she's like a 14-year-old girl. Her mom started her channel when she was like 11, 12, something like that. She might be 16 now. I don't know all the details, to be honest with you. But anyway, her mom is facing, I believe, jail time for, I don't remember the exact charges. She's going to court over something, but she has proof. Well, for one, she's probably going to go to jail for SA because in one of the videos, it might have been a live or something, but in one of the videos, she was kissing like a 17-year-old boy. The mom was, not the daughter.
ew.
And yeah, so that was a big thing. She put it online. Like, I guess her whole thing was, I was teaching him how he should kiss, but the boy ended up making a complaint. The sad part is like all these parents that sign their kids up to do videos with Piper Raquel know what the content is and they're okay with it. Which, if you don't know, I never really, like I said, I've only seen what Dad Challenge podcast has posted. I've never solely looked her up, but she's very explicit, like very sexualized. As a minor. So you know that there's a lot of pedos on that channel. And it's gross that you would put your child out there to look like, I don't know how else to say it, to look like a prostitute when she's that young. Let her live her life. And apparently she had a live-in boyfriend for a while there. Again, this girl at the time, I believe she was under 16 years old, and she had a live-in boyfriend. And her boyfriend was like 4 or 5 years older than her at that. So it's just all messed up all around. And then again, at one point, she had a fake boyfriend that, they were only boyfriend and girlfriend on screen. Off screen, they didn't even like each other. But again, that just goes to show what people are doing for content and to get rich and stuff like that. So, but
That's what I'm saying. Like, people do crazy stuff.
I guess like the whole reason the Dad Challenge podcast started his channel to begin with was there used to be a vlogger called, I think it's Micah Stafford or Micah. I know it was Micah something, but anyway, her and her husband had adopted this little boy, and I guess he was spent years with them, and then he started, I guess, having a lot of, I don't know. I don't know the whole story. It was either medical issues or behavioral issues or something like that. And they just gave him away. They sent him to a different family. They didn't want him no more. They like just threw him away like garbage after adopting this child. And I just, he told the story on that. That's what got him started on the whole exploitation thing, was her. And I watched the videos on that, and I could see why that would really piss some people off, because why would you adopt a child? First of all, it was obviously their channel was suffering, and they adopted this child, and their channel took off. So I think a lot of people saw that, these people adopted this child and their channel took off. So a lot more people started adopting children.
Mm.
And it's just sad. Don't adopt children to be famous, first of all. That's
People
just,
like that are like the reason why adopting children is getting like so much harder.
well, yeah. And it's already expensive to begin with. And now you're sitting here taking advantage of that, where you have people like me who would love to be able to afford to adopt a child. And it's just never going to be a possibility, because there's, for one, like the countries I could afford to adopt from, they wouldn't adopt to me because, one, I'm overweight, two, I have a lot of health issues. So, there's a lot of criteria if you're adopting outside the United States. There's a lot of criteria in the United States, but they don't tend to, what's the word? They don't tend, the people like in the United States, in the United States, they don't tend to care how big you are or stuff like that, like other countries do. So, because to them, if you're overweight, you're unhealthy, and they don't want to give a child from their country to an unhealthy family, basically. So, yeah. Um, sorry. But yeah, like people like Post Malone talked about this in an interview. I think he was interviewing with Jeff Rogan, and he talked about how he doesn't understand how all these YouTube kids can handle this sort of pressure, because he got famous at 18 and it was really hard for him to handle all the pressure that came with it. So he doesn't understand how the younger kids being exploited by their parents online are able to handle it. And even not just the online, well, and he does say mainly focus on like the online people, because their kids aren't getting paid. Whereas if you have a child actor, they have what Coogan laws that protect them, and basically most of their money isn't going to their parents, it's going into an account that they will have access to when they turn 18. So yeah. So he spoke out about that, and like he says, he doesn't understand how even child actors and then all these kids on YouTube can handle the sort of pressure that comes with it, because when he turned 18 and was kind of thrown into the limelight, he had a really hard time handling it. So he doesn't understand how these kids are able to do it, and he says they probably aren't really handling it very well. They probably are putting on a front and stuff like that. So
Oh, you mean like what's her face? Eugenia.
oh, Eugene Cooley.
Like she's not handling well, I mean
And I don't want to call her an exploiter, but she is out there as an influencer, and I think she's influencing kids to have unhealthy habits, because you
meshing it
can
up.
She can talk about how she's not anorexic, but it is obvious that she's still struggling with anorexia. Like, she did go to treatment and she came back looking even healthier, but she like spiraled. She's back down to looking like bones again. So I hope she gets the help she really needs. Obviously, the first treatment didn't work. Maybe she needs to be put in a longer term treatment. And she probably just needs to get off the internet, because I'm sure the hate comments are something that spiraled her to go back to her bad habits again. So
sorry to say, but she needs to be away from her mom or whoever is enabling her.
yeah, she definitely needs to go somewhere and get healthy and not worry about the internet, not worry about any of that.
You want to talk about that one guy now?
Yeah, you can. You know about it. I don't.
The guy with the wife?
Yeah, you told me about it.
No, you told me about it.
No, you told me about.
The stealing the breath? You told me.
No, dear, you told me.
No, you told me.
I know nothing about it, Crystal. You're the one that can, hey, you know about that guy that filmed his wife's last breaths?
No, you came to me with that, you crazy.
I promise you I did not, because I don't even know who he is.
Oh my god, you are insane.
Okay, well, I'll Google him, but you're the one who brought it to me.
You are insane. I came to you with the family with the 3 kids.
Nope.
I had never heard of that guy.
Okay, you're the one who told me about it.
I had never heard of him.
Well, I guess we're not going to talk about him then, because I only know from what you told me. So,
dude,
I promise you, I don't even know who you're talking about. That's why. Whatever. We're not going to argue about it, Crystal. I strictly remember you telling me about it. So we're not going to argue about it. If you don't remember, then it's fine, because I don't remember who it is you told me about. I can't even find it on.
Let me see if I can find it, because I never even heard of the dude.
You're the one who told me about it.
No, I did not.
Anyway, I guess we should talk about the Ace family, because I would say, yes, they probably exploit their children, but for the most part, I feel like they exploit their fans. They get their fans to like basically join like I don't know if they have a Patreon, but they do these events that cost hundreds of dollars for their fans to even attend. Sometimes they're bust and they don't give their fans their money back and stuff like that. So, but I guess they are being sued by a bunch of people. They used to live in like this really big house, and now they live in like something smaller, and they said they just wanted to downsize so they could be closer as a family. And we all know that's a bunch of bull crap. We all know that they just are broke. But I guess like he does like these basketball events that he's supposedly raising money for charity, and he owes a lot of money to one of those, to a boxing event he did. He owes a lot of money because he didn't get enough donated to cover like the like the rental fees for the arena and stuff like that. And so yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's just a lot of piece of crap people out there. I guess you could talk about the Park family. Maybe it was TikTok. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm trying to find that guy. You came to me with this dude, and
we're not arguing about it anymore. I done said you could talk about the Park family now if you wanted to.
Well, talk about it. I'm looking this dude up. I don't know.
It's your family to talk about. I'm not talking about them.
I wanted to talk about this guy, and I don't know who he is. Like, you know about the parks? I told you about the parks.
I'm not talking about them.
Well, I'm looking up this guy.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, if I knew you thought it was me, I would have been looking him up before. There's a what?
There's one that got a guy apparently watched his wife die from unaliving herself and did nothing about it. So far, that's the only thing I found.
There's a wife that watched her documenting her wife's death on social media. But it's like a wife documenting a wife.
Don't know. All right, well, anyway, one of the big things going on right now is I guess Ruby Frankie from 8 Passengers was arrested. And that's all I know because I didn't have time to watch all of the videos that have been made about it. So, but if you don't know who she is a big family exploiter. One of her sons, I guess she sent him away to some sort of camp for behaviors because he was having behaviors. That's what she called them. And this is apparently a camp like that's an extreme. It's almost like a boot camp of sorts, but it's like an extreme boot camp. And there have been reports of deaths. Of course, this is a Mormon camp, so that doesn't surprise me. I guess when her son got back from camp, he pranked his younger brother. And so, as punishment, she took off his bathroom door. So, he had no privacy from using the bathroom. He also didn't have a bed. Like, they took his bed away. And so, he was forced to sleep on a beanbag, again, for behavior issues. She had when her daughter was 5, I guess her daughter forgot to pack her lunch before school one day. The school called and asked her if she could bring her daughter some lunch because she's hungry, and she told the school that it's her daughter's responsibility to make her lunch every morning, and if she forgot, then she's going to have to live with the consequences. So yeah, so that's who Ruby Frankie is in a nutshell. She is a POS mom. I'm sorry, but if you have a 5-year-old child, it should not be their responsibility to make sure their lunch is packed. That is your responsibility as a parent to make sure your children are eating. Sorry. That's just part of being a parent. And if you didn't want to be a parent, you shouldn't have opened your legs and had a bunch of kids. I don't give a shit if you're Mormon or not. And maybe I try to leave religion and politics out of my channel, but let me know in the comments if you guys would like to have a religious discussion, because I mean, we can open up that can of worms if you want. Oh.
Okay, I've got a link. I just don't know, like, I don't think I can post it. I mean, here, let me give it to you here. There. It's that wife that watched her wife die.
Hold on. There it is. Just trying to figure out how to. First of all, let me move it to this screen. All right. Documenting his wife's death on social. So that's do
It's,
this.
it's wife on wife.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let me see if I can share it.
I've seen the video, so I don't know what all it is, but it's just based on the title. I mean, it's what it looks like, is documenting death online.
So let's see what we can do. We're going to do a quote unquote reaction to this. And see, let me know if you can hear it, because if you can't, then we're just not going to do it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
There's a total awkwardness to death. I think it's grown out of this idea that death is to be fought.
It's my mom's birthday.
We have this call and response. Someone says they have cancer, and you say, "You're strong, you're going to beat this." There is a stigma around talking about death, sharing pictures of death, because most people don't know what it would look like. It's scary. And Kathy said, let's just put things out there. Let's be fully transparent and share.
All right, first of all, I get wanting to like take pictures and stuff, but it looks like they were like just constantly taking pictures of this poor woman dying.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And like all over her body too.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Share this with people. So we started posting on social media. Kathy Brandt was my wife for 18 years. Kathy and I both worked in the field of hospice and palliative care. When we started going out, she said, I just want to be clear, I don't want to be a parent. I just want to date you. And so I was like, oh, this will be very interesting because I've just brought a toddler into my life. And she immediately ended up becoming the most amazing partner. What are you doing, Kathy?
Pancakes, man. Trying to get some pancakes going. Yeah.
Did you just call them man cakes? And also the most amazing mom.
First of all, let's go back. I want that kitchen. Can we go back to the kitchen? Is this an actual? It looks like it's actually in a house.
Man. Trying to get some pancakes.
That would be awesome.
Did you just call them man cakes? And also the most amazing.
That would be so awesome to have that darn kitchen with the griddle top and a range right next to each other. Anyway, I'm just putting my dreams out
I
there.
am kind of like, it is interesting though that she wants to document, considering that she's in hospice and stuff like that. You know, it does. I mean, it kind of makes a little bit of sense, but at the same time, I don't necessarily know if she really would have wanted it to go as deeply
as far as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's still a limit to it, you know, because people don't need to see exactly like everything they did. Because you can see dying without seeing all of that.
Yeah.
Mom.
Grayson just taught me within the 15-minute challenge time, he taught me the cup song.
When Kathy realized she had advanced cancer, it was pretty devastating to know that we had so little time. We talked about how would we be sharing this information with other people and what did we want to share. So before Kathy was sick, my relationship with social media was sporadic. I had never really gotten the hang of Twitter. Kathy was very reserved. She was a much more private person than I was. She was like, ugh, I've got to listen to everyone's story about the people that they know who all were cured with ovarian cancer, or everyone's going to give me treatment advice, or everyone is going to tell me, you're a fighter, you can beat this. And she was like, I'm so not looking forward to it. And so I had said, there's no reason why we can't tell people that you don't want to hear those things. Why can't we put that out there? And so we posted that on Facebook and got really positive responses from friends and family who said, wow, this helps us know how to be helpful to you. I love you. You're amazing. You're a superstar. Just because you're awesome. And you always have a good sense of humor and you're still trying to teach people. So we began posting and sharing updates and sharing pictures and sharing videos with the hope that people could see what it's really like.
Pause it. Yeah, see, she wasn't really into it because it even said, you know, like the whole surgery thing and stuff like that. She wasn't really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And like telling people, you know, like,
yeah,
she wasn't really into teaching people stuff. She really wasn't into giving people hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just, I've got cancer, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And it wasn't curing it. It was just, why do we want to give people hope?
Yeah.
And so it's like, she wasn't into, so it's like, why are you doing this? Does she really want to go through all of this? You know, did she really want to do this, or was this you?
Right.
You know? So, really. Okay, go ahead.
This morning I woke up early and did an 8-mile hike while Kathy was asleep. When I came home, she woke up and wanted to show people her belly and her Aspira drain.
Really?
It's not bad looking. Okay, good. It's a good looking belly. Anything else you want to say other than, hey, look at my belly? Yeah, now that you've shown all of your friends your belly. Anything else?
I love you.
You love me or you love everybody who sees the video? Just me, right?
I primarily love you.
I love you. When you were diagnosed and when you started dying, we talked about how different you and I are, right?
Right.
And you were like, sex is like, no, least interesting thing in the world, right? Once you're dying.
Yeah, it's like, for me at least, there's nothing there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've told you this before, but if I were terminally ill, I would spend like probably a significant chunk of every single day of my life masturbating.
Why do you keep telling her that she's terminally ill? Why?
First of all, how do you know you'd spend the majority of your life or the end of your life masturbating? You probably, I mean, unless you, whatever. These people are stupid.
I don't know, but seriously, why is like every other word, you're dying, you're terminally ill? Why do you keep telling her that?
Because she didn't want to be told that she's going to be okay.
Apparently not.
Well, that's what it said in the beginning. She didn't want people to say she's a fighter. It's going to be okay. She's going to survive this and stuff like that.
No hope at all.
Exactly. That's basically what she said. She didn't want anybody to have hope.
No. Like,
So
who goes into cancer with no hope?
I honestly think she probably just didn't want to fight it, is what it sounds like to me. Like she just said, I'm going to die. So I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense, though.
No.
It honestly doesn't. Like, who goes into cancer and is just, like rolls over and dies? It's like, it sounds like a Munchausen thing.
I don't know. I think it comes to a point, there's some people that are told, like, especially ovarian cancer, because it's like the silent killer. So usually when it's caught, it's a death sentence anyway. So a lot of them just don't want to try to fight it because they know a lot of times there's no hope, because they could go and have their uterus removed, but that doesn't mean it hasn't spread already throughout their body. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's keep watching.
What is it we're trying to do right now?
Eat,
No,
sleep,
no, the other one.
magic carpet ride.
No.
Mm.
Fourth choice, pee. Right.
Mm.
You have depends on. Now I have depends on.
Did you pee?
No, I'm waiting for you to pee.
Oh, I think
You pee, I will pee in my depends. I give you my word. But you keep dozing off and forgetting that you're supposed to be trying to pee and thinking that we're doing something else. So you lack focus, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
No one else moves like this.
Oops.
Introduce.
I'm gonna mute the ads unless I can skip them, but this one I can't. So, but yeah, I don't know if they wanted the.
I knew that too much information is what would be helpful to people, because if we don't share that stuff, then that's why people think that end of life is such a mystery.
How are you feeling today?
Yeah, the symptoms change daily.
Yeah,
That's kind of hard.
like things feel weird different times.
Yeah.
I think what scares people about taking care of a dying person is just the vulnerability. It feels really raw when someone that you love, who was really independent, needs that kind of care.
I'm gonna pause it right there just because of what she said, and it's not just people that you love. Like, I worked for a place called Normal Life, and it was basically mentally handicapped people. And one of my first job there was this house with 4 girls. Well, one of the girls ended up getting breast cancer, and I just emotionally couldn't handle it, so I asked to be reassigned. And do I regret that? Some days, yes, but I don't think I could have honestly sat there, and because they basically told her they told her parents, because she wasn't all there, but they basically told her parents that there's probably no hope. We removed her because they removed her breasts, and they told her that until they do the after scans to see if they got it all or not, that with just her. Basically, they just told him that, don't have the hope, that they don't see her body wanting to fight like a normal person's body would. So, anyway, I don't think I could have sat there and watched her die because that was the prediction that the doctor was given. So I don't, I get what this lady is saying, but I don't think like I could have recorded someone's death, if that makes sense. Even if they wanted me to, I don't think I could do it. Like, think what would you have if your mom had come to you and said, "You know what? I want people to know about this. Let's record everything." Would you have done it?
I don't. I mean,
I know your sister would have, no questions asked.
yeah. I
But-
mean, it would have been recorded. Not to this extent.
Right.
Not to this extent.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't sit there and be like, "Well, we're waiting on her to pee."
No.
So,
I mean, would we have like done some of it? Then probably, yeah. Like going to the doctor and stuff like that, like recording doctor sessions and like what they would have allowed. And yeah, that part of it, yeah. Like, but this stuff, no.
no. Yeah.
Like all of like no. All of like no. Like all of this little bits and pieces, no. But some of it you can record and put some of it in there because some of it probably should be put in there.
Yeah.
Like there is parts of it that people probably should see, but this stuff, no.
This is, to me, is just sad because this lady is just given up hope. It doesn't even look like she's trying. And maybe she is trying and they're just not recording those parts. They're just recording all the down and out parts. We don't know. We can only know what they post, if that makes any sense. We don't know all the reality.
Yeah, it looks like she like never tried at all.
Yeah.
It's like it looks like as soon as I found out that she was sick, she was just down and out.
And
there was just nothing to it. And it's like, why did she even go through the surgery?
Yeah.
Like at all. Like, why did she even bother? It's like she didn't even have to go through.
Yeah.
There was one person who had commented under a tweet saying how infantilizing to be using the word peeing and talking about adult diaper. This poor vulnerable woman. Kathy was mad because she was like, I'm choosing what's going on Twitter. Like up until the final week, Kathy was choosing everything. And so she said, I want to record a video right now.
It doesn't.
I want Kevin to keep filming everything and sharing it publicly. And that will make me happy.
I think that the tweets and then the GoFundMe blog posts together helped Kathy process her own death because they gave her a space to reflect. She was not someone to sit and talk about her feelings. So to be able to write about it was good for her, but it was also really good for us. And it was a way that she could share vulnerable thoughts about herself and about dying with me without saying them to me face to face. She was clear with me that she wanted the good and the bad posted. So I tweeted about things that probably didn't reflect well on me. I said, there are days when I can't bear the thought of her dying. And then there are days where I'm like, why doesn't she die? Like, why is this taking so long? August 3rd. I'm sharing this for non-medical people who've never heard the beginnings of a death rattle. The death rattle is Kathy Brandt's. The periodic snoring snorts are from Mitzi. The video is dark and jumpy, but the sound is decent. Clinicians can't share stories like this about their patients. It wouldn't be ethical. It wouldn't be right. And so I thought it was important for people to hear what that breathing change sounds like, and also to help destigmatize some of the sounds that come along with dying.
Yeah, that was how my mom looked and sounded, like right around the end.
Mm-hmm. Are you serious? Hold on. First of all, I want to get past this because
Kathy died at 4:51 this morning. I woke up around
Wait, hold
3:30
on.
a.m.
Hold on. Didn't she just say she died at 4:51?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was looking at this. Sorry. That's why it's like, it said 5:41. They took the picture an hour later.
Yeah.
That's sad. Okay, I need to get past that picture. So,
this morning.
oh, of course, it went right back.
I woke up around 3:30 a.m. when I noticed her breathing change. I could tell she was close, so I talked softly to her about her favorite beach and ocean waves and cobalt blue sea glass. She sighed deeply, and that was it. She was gone. I pulled up to talk last time, and then I brushed her
What?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. It sounded like you were trying to talk, and it was.
teeth and took a shower.
Hmm.
No idea why. Maybe I just wanted the day to have something normal in it. I don't know. So this is a picture right after Kathy died. People might judge you. Like, what kind of monster would share a picture of their loved one who had died? In a culture where we don't share almost anything.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, that used to be the only picture you would get, is if
Mm-hmm.
a picture of your loved one after they passed away, they would position them like they were alive, but they would actually be dead. So taking pictures of dead ones isn't a new thing, but it's also, ever since pictures became normalized, like, you know, being able to take pictures of someone when they were alive and it wasn't, you know, $1 million, they stopped taking the death pictures because the death pictures were literally for families to memorialize their loved one.
Yeah, it was like all they had, and so
Yeah. So
it was like that one last thing that they got before the person would be taken away.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna hate her for taking the picture because, you know, that's, but it should have still been something just for her.
Just to check for herself.
Yeah,
It didn't
for her and
really share.
her family. Yeah.
Around illness and death, the only way to counter that is for some people to share a little bit more than is probably appropriate.
Like, yeah, you
The
can
work
share.
that I
the
had
process
done with
if you
Kathy
want
on
to.
Twitter ended up having far more of an impact.
What?
I said you can share like parts of the process, but then there's other parts of it that you can keep to yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's like if you want to document the process, that's fine. As a hospice nurse and stuff like that, I understand that. But there's pieces to document, and then there's pieces to save.
Yeah, that should be just for you
Yeah,
and your family.
and as a
Than
hospice
anything
nurse,
that
I should understand that.
Yeah.
I've written in an academic journal. More people have ended up connecting with what I've shared on Twitter.
See, I don't think it's a problem to like say that died. You know, like that's not the problem.
2 men from the funeral home
Right.
pulled up in minivans.
But when you
One of them asked me if there were
post the photos, wouldn't it
Yeah.
draw the line?
Yeah, like posting her photo online, that's an issue, but just being like, hey, you know, so and so passed away this morning, that's fine. People do that all the time. You know, you tell your friends online that so and so passed away, that's fine.
Even putting a picture of her when she was healthy would have been fine, but to put her last breath, or like not her last breath photo, but her death photo,
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong. That's
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. People don't
Or
need to
any
see that.
valuables other
Yeah.
than your wife. I had trouble
Like,
answering
that would have been
because my
fine.
throat felt
Yeah. Why didn't you post this one, or maybe one of with your child in it too?
Mm-hmm.
so tight. Grayson and I then came into the bedroom to say a final goodbye to Kathy before they drove her to the crematorium. So I wanted all of you to know that Kathy had a peaceful death, and your love and support is what made that possible.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to say thank you. Sorry I'm so weakish, and you guys have meant the most to me over my lifetime. So thank you.
All right.
So yeah, it's like, I understand people like wanting to document like what they're going through and stuff like that, but there's like certain things you put out there and certain things you don't.
Yeah.
So it's like,
We don't. Mm.
it's like you're asking about my mom and stuff like that. It's like I wouldn't want to put like her like in the like after she died and stuff like that. I wouldn't want people to see that because
Yeah.
you know, like I don't even like when that image goes back into my head again. So I wouldn't want people to see that. But you know, like taking her to the doctor and stuff like that. You know, like doctor visit stuff and things that I would, you know, if I could go back and like document that kind of stuff for people to hear about and stuff, if that could help people, you know, then sure, fine, why not?
Yeah.
But
As
no,
long as it was something she wanted.
exactly, yeah. You know, like if she wanted to do that for people, then why not? But there's no reason to post certain images.
Yeah. Wow. That was a little rough to watch, but
Yeah, like there's no reason to be posting a death rattle. Like I mean, if you want to take that for your own, like just I mean, if you have like I don't know why you'd want to hear.
and what got me is she said she did it to destigmatize it. Why do we need to destigmatize that? That is something that not everyone is going to hear in their lifetime. And now that you're trying to destigmatize it, it's going to make it so when people do hear it, they're not as emotional as they probably should be, because they're like, oh, it's just the death rattle. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just the wording she used was wrong. She
Mm-hmm.
posted it to destigmatize the sound of death.
Well, she didn't even like my mom's was a lot stronger than that. So I don't even know if they're the same in everybody or not.
Right.
Or if she even like if that was like the beginning stages of the death rattle or if they're just all different. Because like I said, like my mom's kept my sister and I up like all night long. That's why like the next day my sister like when we called hospice for my mom, my sister like dragged me off to her little beach house or whatever and was like, we got to get away. We got to like have a little moment to ourselves because we'd spent the entire night listening to death rattle. So, I mean, it was not just that quiet little snore that was in that video. I mean, it was awful. So, that's why we went to beach house and then we ended up getting a phone call from our brother and we ended up missing, you know, when our mom actually did pass because she died before we got back. Because my sister couldn't handle being around another moment. And then I told her I didn't want to leave, you know, and she was like, no, you gotta have a break too. You gotta have a break too. We deserve a break. Because I knew, you know, I knew what was coming. So I didn't want to leave, but she insisted.
I think she would have kept holding on until you left. I don't think she wanted you to see it.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see.
I don't know where our people are.
I don't know. They probably had other things to do today.
You screwed up our rotation from last week.
Probably. Well, you know what? I couldn't really help that one. Well, I guess we're not going to watch this video because YouTube removed it, but mainly this is a guy named DJ something recorded his wife and mother of his babies killing herself.
Ew.
At some point, one of their babies walks in and he doesn't even pause the recording.
Ew.
Brown skin. DJ Brown skin.
Never even heard of the dude.
Judge, you're accused of killing your wife, DJ. DJ Brownskin removes phone. Here is your evidence, Your Majesty. Okay, well, you didn't call and get help, so it's still assisted suicide at that. Oh, well. Anyway. Anyone else you want to talk about, or should we just go ahead and end this one for the day?
Do you see anything on the Turpin, I believe?
Turpin? How do you spell that?
Turpin. It's that family that has like 7 kids, I think. 7 or 8, maybe more.
All right. Turpin House of Horrors.
Yep.
Oh, I think I've seen a documentary on these people.
Yeah.
Like one of them escaped or something.
Yeah, they're the ones that were starving. Like, yeah, they were starving their kids, and they would take them out to like Disney and stuff like that, all dressed in the same.
Yeah, and then they like renewed their vows or something like that, and dressed them all up for that. But when they get home, they lock them up and stuff.
Yeah, and like the kids were like all older than they looked. Like the one that escaped was like almost 20 or something, but she looked like she was 12 or something.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching a documentary on these people. Let's see, let me share.
Yeah, they just went to prison like not too long ago. I think it was like, well, it might have been like the year before I moved out here, I think.
All right, so this is basically the timeline In 1985, David and Louise eloped. In 1989, Louise gave birth to their first child in Texas. David was an engineer. In 2010, they moved to Murrieta, California. 2011 to 2012, they renewed their vows in front of Elvis impersonator and their children, the couple's children, at the wedding chapel in Las Vegas in 2011. The photos showed the children in similar haircuts and dressed alike. The following year, the family spends the day together at Disneyland, again posing for photos wearing similar clothing. 2014, David and Louise moved their children into a home in Paris, a town in Riverside County, about 70 miles east of Los Angeles. Over the next several years, the Turpin children endured horrific abuse at the hands of their parents, and the home becomes known as House of Horrors. In 2008, shortly before 6 a.m., Jordan Turpin, 17, climbs out a window and escapes her family home. She uses a disconnected cell phone to call 911 and report that she and her 12 siblings, ages 2 to 29, are being held captive. My parents are abusive, Jordan tells the dispatcher. My 2 little sisters now are chained up. They're chained up to their bed. During the roughly 20-minute call, Jordan says she and her siblings live in filth, and she at times wakes up and can't breathe because of how dirty the house is. Jordan is unable to tell the dispatcher where she lives and has to read the address from a piece of paper. I haven't been out. I don't go out much, she explains. I don't know anything about the streets or anything. Police arrest David and Louise on suspicion of child abuse around 9 p.m. that evening. January 18, 2018, investigators learned that the children's parents regularly beat, strangle, and starve their 13 children, who are reportedly only allowed to shower or 1 shower per year. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestern says that Turpin siblings are severely malnourished. February 22nd, 2019, David and Louise Turpin each pled guilty to Riverside Superior Court to 14 felony charges, 1 count of torture, 3 counts of willful child cruelty, and 4 counts of false imprisonment, and 6 counts of cruelty to a dependent adult. This is among the worst, most aggravated child abuse case I have seen, DA Hestern says. April 19, 2019, the parents each received sentences of 25 years to life and will only be eligible for parole after serving decades in prison. At the sentencing hearing, some of the Turpin siblings give victim impact statements. I cannot describe in words what we went through growing up. Joshua Turpin tells the court, sometimes I still have nightmares of things that had happened, such as my siblings being chained or up or beaten. But that is the past, and this is now. I love my parents, and I have forgiven them for a lot of the things they did to us. David Turpin's lawyer reads a statement on his behalf. The father claims he never intended for any harm to come to my children. I hope the very best for my children in their future. Louise addresses the court. I want to say I'm sorry for everything I have done. I love my children so much. I pray for my children every day. I'm truly sorry for everything I've done to hurt them. I love them more than they can ever imagine. First of all, if you loved your children more than you can ever imagine, why the hell would you abuse them like that? That's bullshit. March 2021, foster parents Marcelino and Rosa Oglin and the couple's daughter, Lenny Oglin, are arrested for allegedly abusing several of the Turpin siblings after they were placed with the family following the rescue. These poor kids. They pled not guilty to the charges against them. July 2022, 6 of the Turpin siblings filed 2 lawsuits in Riverside County Superior Court, one against Riverside County and the other against the private foster care agency, ChildNet Youth and Family Services. The suit alleged that the siblings were the victims of abuse in the foster home officials placed them in following their rescue. The suit claimed ChildNet Youth knew the Oglings were unfit to be foster parents since the family allegedly had a prior history of physically and emotionally abusing children, as well as severely neglected children who have been placed in their care. The suit further claims ChildNet Youth had financial motive to continue placing a large number of children in this foster home and thereby strengthen its relationship with the county of Riverside, and it put that financial motive ahead of the responsibility of the children. Today, the Turpin siblings continue to try to move forward with their lives. Jordan, now 22, is active on TikTok, and she recently moved into her own apartment in Southern California. Sometimes I walk into my apartment and I literally think, is this real? I'm more independent and can just be myself. This is everything I ever wanted, she tells people. I've been feeling like my life is about to actually start. Jordan and her siblings remain close. We have inside jokes and have so much fun together, she says. After everything that happened and after escaping, I'm so protective over each one. They always know they have me. Jack Osborne, who represents the siblings, say they are determined to not look back. They are all working forward or toward their own independence. They want people to know them for who they are and what they are going to be doing. Osborne explains they're looking forward, working on school, working on their health, and working on learning and doing basic life skills. What the hell is that noise?
Mm.
All right. So there's that Turpin family.
Yep, they were people work.
I'm trying to remember where I saw the documentary so I can tell everyone if they want to see it. Well, I probably saw it on Hulu, but you can watch it on Apple TV, YouTube TV, of course Hulu, Sling, and Fubo. So it's called The Turpin 13 Family Secrets Exposed. It's a TV movie. It was put out in 2018. So, yeah, I watched it. It was interesting to watch, and I was kind of appalled by it at the same time because I just don't understand how people can have children and treat them like that.
I might watch that. I didn't remember that they were actually their kids. I thought that was another family of like adopted children, but no, they were actually their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 13 of them. Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if it talked about. I don't think the parents were counted in the 13. I think there's 13 siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13 children.
It's like, how do you have that many children and then you treat them like that? And it's like, you would think, if you're having that many children, I mean, it's just like the Duggars and everything, it's like they have that many children. So you would think, things are above board, but no, they're not.
And the thing with like the Duggars, they basically admitted that their older children took care of the younger children because they have buddies.
Mhm.
And people are all like, "Oh, that's a great idea." But okay, is it really? Because like I follow not all of the Duggar children, but I follow a lot of the older Duggar children now, and a lot of them are like breaking free from their parents' brainwashing. So, um, I want to say that bringing up Bates, I watched them too. I don't feel like, and I could be wrong because I do watch a lot of the Bates children on YouTube as well. And I feel like they weren't as hardcore as the Duggar family. Like, one of the wives has been seen wearing pants, and because she didn't grow up in the religion, so to her, wearing pants was okay. Her husband is okay with it. She says a lot of times that she'll wear skirts around the family because that's just what they wear, but she doesn't think wearing pants is wrong. And a lot of the Duggar kids have come out saying the same thing. They don't see why they were taught wearing pants was wrong because they feel like, yeah, it shows more of your curves, but you're less likely to actually show anything wearing pants. So, I don't know. I personally think, and this is just um, if you watch The Shiny Happy People, it talks about how I forget, Bill Gothard, how he groomed a lot of kids. And I think the whole skirt thing was so that, like, he and some other higher ups had easy access, if you know what I mean.
Ew.
Well, if you watch the documentary, at one point it talks about how one girl came forward and saying she was always called to Gothard's office and he would always like touch her and he felt like it was inappropriate the way he was touching her and stuff like that. So I really think that the rules started because he, wanted easy access. Allegedly. We're just going to say allegedly because we don't know for a fact. So, but yeah. Yeah. Any other toxic, exploitive people you want to talk about?
Those are the main ones that come to mind, but they were the ones that like came up recently.
Yeah. Yep. And exploitation goes back a long way. So, I mean, you can leave in the comments who you would think is exploitive. I put a couple of the people that I watch. I think I only did 3. I'm pretty sure I linked Dad Challenge podcast, Sloan, and Deep Dive because they cover a lot of toxic, exploitive people. I am not linking any of the channels we talked about because I don't want you guys to go give them social media currency, basically. I don't want you to go watch them. If you want to go give them money, that's up to you, but I am not going to be the one that gives you the links to them. So you'll have to do your own research there.
Yeah, definitely don't encourage like going and feeding the social media monster.
Yeah. Like I said, most of the people I only know about from Dad Challenge podcast, a lot of times he'll bring up people that I actually do watch, and sometimes I'll agree with them, and sometimes I don't agree with them. Like one of the other people he talks about a lot is Bits of Brie. Well, he doesn't talk about her anymore. He used to talk about her a lot because I guess she went on vacation during COVID and people were giving her a bunch of crap for it, and then they ended up buying a house in Hawaii, I guess, to make people think they weren't just on vacation. They were looking to move. And that didn't last long. They ended up selling their house during the whole market thing where everyone was getting a lot of money for their houses. And then she moved back to Ohio, and her husband got divorced. She says that's why they moved back to Ohio, is because they were getting divorced. So they wanted to go ahead and get that property out of the whole situation. I don't know, but I still watch her. I like her decorating videos. That's the only reason I watch her, and those are the only ones I watch are her decorating videos. She very rarely shows her children in videos, so I don't really see her as an exploiter of children. But she was one of them that took out that PPE loan or something like that. She took out one of those loans during COVID, and so that's why he snarked on her. He hasn't in a while. Doesn't mean he won't ever again, but he hasn't done it in a while. But if you can deal with, as people call, a lot of people say he's a bully, and I can probably agree with that. He does bully a lot of people with his snarking. So if you can get past that and like actually look at the message he's putting out to it, he's really good to watch he exposes these child exploiters. And a lot of people say, well, you're giving them limelight by exploiting them. I don't know. It's a whole big circle mess, but yeah. Anyway, like I said, I don't feel good. So next week, I think we decided we're talking about music. We're going to take an easy week off. Let me look at my thing. Yeah, we're going to talk about music. We're going to be basically discussing like our favorites. If you guys, I will be posting later on links to our Spotify's. If you want to go and let's see what we're listening to, ask questions about that, you can leave comments in any of my videos on this live, on the community board. You can always leave me questions and we will answer them during the lives. Sorry, I'm losing my breath. But yeah, we're going to take an easy week next week because I've not been feeling the best. I am still currently trying to finish decorating my house for fall. And that's taken all week so far, and I'm still not done because I don't feel good. So I only do a little bit here and there on top of all the other crap I have to do every week. So anything else you want to talk about before we end this, Crystal?
I don't think so.
All right. So I guess we're going to go ahead and end this here then, guys. If you like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Again, comment, questions, anything, any topics you want to hear us talk about, leave them down below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Oh. No, I don't want to do that. I hit the wrong button. Bye.